Welcome everybody to Real Estate Friday. To begin, I heard and I appreciate Steve the question: how many of you are working with investors, or how many done foreclosures and short sales? And I heard the response for like from Harold and some of you. But let me ask you this: how many of you are currently working with investors? You can unmute yourself, say it, or
Yeah,
type it in the chat, just to have an idea. How many of you are working with investors
sure
or
am.
have worked with investors?
It's an ongoing situation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Ray. He has a client, a really good client. He's an investor. It's a continuous business. How many business have you done with that same person, Ray?
I've done about 6 so far
Yeah,
with the same
yeah,
client.
And
yeah.
Jose in our North Miami office also has a steady stream of investors that trust him over the years,
Yeah.
and he works with. I know.
So working with investors is always a great source of leads, right? And a lot of agents, and that's sad because a lot of agents overlook this the investment homes, the real estate. It's for some of them are a prime source of income or business, but sometimes they overlook this. And the truth is that there are a lot of different type of investors out there who they do different things like fix and flip, buy and hold, and invest in vacant homes, multifamily, I mean, you name it. So this is something that opens up a great opportunity for a lot of agents to, one, start working with investors that will give you like a lot of business, like like Ray mentioned, or Jose Nino in the North Miami office, and maybe some of you have already worked with some of these people. In fact, I was looking at this little information, and it says that there are over 7 million people in the United States who consider themselves investors. That's a lot of people. But the question is, what other reason do they need what other reason yet do you need to work with this financially savvy leads to be able to list their properties? So the question actually is, how can you meet these people? Let's say you're not working with investors, you have never worked with investors, but how can you meet these people, right? So there are a lot of ways that you can meet investors. For the most successful agent is one who thinks outside the box. And some of the strategies that they use is, like, for example, you can sign up for a social media applications on your smartphone. There's one that's called meetup.com, MEETUP, meetup.com. And that's one, for example. And you can search for local investor communities in that app. You can do the same thing in Facebook, or Facebook communities. But after you join those communities, you got to make sure you attend their events. If the group is hosting a function, let's say at a hotel or a convention center, that's a great time to go there and network with all of the people who are looking to invest their money into real estate properties. And bring your marketing materials and be prepared to shake hands, a lot of hands. Now, there's a lot of you can Google this, but there's a lot of information on investors clubs. Now, investor clubs, a lot of the things that they do is that they train new and seasoned real estate investors. And when you go there, you get to meet a lot of people. You get to meet lenders, you get to meet people that are starting to learn how to invest in properties, and they're buyers. Okay, but they're the type of buyers that go there, again, they're investors. So they're looking, their point of view of the type of homes they're searching are completely different from a first-time home buyer, or people that are buying a vacation home or a second home. So they're doing it as a business. So it's good to introduce yourself to this type of people. And this type of events are great. And those events are open. Okay. There's one, I think it's called Dane Real Estate Investment, a group or something like that, or association. But anyways, they meet every second or third Wednesday of the month, and it's open to the public. And they are following guidelines as far as the CDC and everything that they need. But aside from meeting once a month, they also have online trainings on their website. They have trainings as well, and you can find a lot of groups like this in your area as well. So I highly suggest that you get involved with this group so you can start meeting a lot of new investors. Essentially, these are the main ways I'm going to share with you that I recommend seeking out to investors, and it's super simple. Joining online groups, as I mentioned, you have the small business networking events in your area. A lot of this networking events and doing it on Zoom, so you can attend various of them, and also reaching out to your sphere of influence. Okay, your personal sphere of influence. There's always going to be somebody that either learned how to invest in properties or they're currently investing in homes. So stay close to your sphere of influence. So those three things I highly recommend. Again, joining online groups, small business networking events in your area, and your personal sphere of influence. Now, how investors are different from other sellers? Well, you got to note that investors aren't exactly the same as traditional sellers, because investors, they're not emotionally tied to what they're buying or what they're selling. It's important to showcase your own knowledge and skills as an agent and prove that yours outweigh theirs. Think about it. Investors, as I said, they care about their numbers, right? And you have to show them, you have to show an investor that it's more profitable to use you, that you can get them a greater return on investment, and that you have you have more access than they do to features and informations that they don't have. So you have a lot to offer to an investor. So you as an agent, whether you're starting out or you've been doing this for some time and you have never worked with an investor, don't feel threatened by these people. Okay, they call themselves investors just because they're investing in homes and then buying homes and stuff like that. But you already know, you know more than they do when it comes to finding information and having features available to you that they don't have. And you have the time to look for properties that most of them don't have the time. So you already have a leverage. Now, there are different types of investors, and you need to understand this. You also need to understand that not all investors are seeking the same goal. Agents should get familiar and with the different type of investors before trying to work with them. Some investors, for example, they are interested in buying and flipping properties for a quick resale. I'm pretty sure you know some of them. Others buy rental properties and they either try to rent it on their own or connect with property managers to manage their properties. So again, that's another source if you tap into this part of the rental, because now you have somebody that's renting property continually, and you also have you can offer them or you can connect with property managers that can probably help them as well, and they could be another source of information for you.
Delon,
Savvy, yeah,
I have a question for you because I went
absolutely.
to one of the Miami-Dade RIA meetings in Miami Shores it's not last year, that was COVID, the year before last.
Yeah.
And a lot of the investors that I spoke with, they're looking for a steal. That's the most common comment that I got. I'm looking for a steal. It's like, how do you respond to that?
Well, everybody's looking for a steal because they think that the better that the investors make money when they buy, right? Now when they sell. So when they say, or when you say that they're looking for a steal, that's pretty much every investor out there, because first of all, a lot of them don't have the knowledge, the 100% knowledge of what they're trying to accomplish. But once you show them the number, you can pretty much show them that they're getting something for a steal, right? Because again, it's all in the purchase. So it's a matter of getting to know them, you showing them what you can bring to the table, how you can make them more profitable. Even now that the market the way it is, it's any of those investors can still be profitable. There's a lot of opportunities out there right now that they don't even know. Like the traditional investor, they think, oh, I'll buy a house, I'll get it on a discount, and then I'll flip it, right?
Yeah, but they're not going to get anything on a discount on the MLS. They're looking for
Not on
off
the
market.
MLS, not on
They
the
want
MLS.
off market properties all the time. So how do you go
Correct.
about that?
Well, actually, if you stay to the end, I'm gonna talk a little bit about a training that I'm gonna have coming up, exactly how to find off-market properties, which will help you be relevant to them. And there's a strategy for that, and you can put it together and just look for the investor afterwards. And I'm glad you went to that training, to that club, what, 2 years ago, Jane?
I'm having a problem unmuting myself for some reason.
It's okay.
Yeah, that was pre-COVID. So it was almost 2 years ago. They held a meeting. There were probably about 80 people there. And it
Yeah,
was
usually gets really full.
Yeah, Miami Shores Country Club. So, yeah, it was a nice meeting, and they did give some valuable information. But like I said, everybody was looking for steel, and I have never dealt in off-market properties, though I'm on probably 6 mailing lists from people that are always, off market. This is,
Yeah.
fix and flip, that kind of thing. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's not to say they can't be found on MLS. The 6 deals I've done have been deals that were on MLS. They were cash only. They were marketed for investors, and it worked out. So
Yeah, there's different ways of finding these home. When I started doing when I started doing fix and flips years ago, I most of the deals that I found, they were on the MLS. However, there are different times. So finding something right now that perhaps you're trying to get from the MLS, it might be a little bit hard since most of the sellers that are putting it now in the MLS, they're putting these properties and they want top dollars for it, right?
Yeah.
Normally, because that's what the market is calling for. So there are other strategies to approach this, and there's other contacts, and I can share the contacts that I have, which their job is to go out there and contact people that are in distress. And I'm gonna share with you as a website as well that you can find some of these properties. And some of them are not in the MLS, some of them are, and they're foreclosures as well. And most of the time, these people end up investing in foreclosures because they already have some discount, and perhaps you can negotiate better. So I'll share the website shortly, so you
Okay.
know, and that you can look for these properties here as well. But
And
stay
Ray, did you
tuned.
find that on the MLS or on LoopNet?
No, on the MLS.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the MLS,
cool.
and there's a strategy to get this properties, and it's all based on the offer. So that, like I said, there's a strategy to it, and I'm gonna put that training together just so everybody knows how the home acquisition happens as an investor. Because if once you understand it, how an investor think when they're, or what they learn when they want to acquire properties, it will be easier for you to understand where they're coming from and also the type of properties you can show them. But it's on the presentation. Usually it's how you present it to them and show them the numbers and this and that. And once they do the number, they'll forget about, oh, I want to get, the house I'm gonna make $100,000. It's not about making $100,000. It's how many properties you can flip, okay, and not how much I'm gonna make on one deal. Because you can do one deal, you made $100,000, and then where's the next deal? And that's mainly what they care about and what they're concerned with. How soon am I gonna be able to flip my next deal?
Yeah. All right. Great. Thanks.
Yeah. In fact, the next thing I was gonna talk about is that, like, how can you spot investment homes? So as you learn, like I was saying, as you learn more about investors and the home they look for, you're gonna get better at this niche. Okay. And you have to think like one of them, so you can see what they need. And it's basically putting like a shopping list together. Like say your spouse says, hey, you need to go to the grocery store. You put a list together of things he needs to get. That's pretty much it, right? Once actually, there's a strategy called reverse wholesaling for this type of people, and then you can actually get the list of things that they want. It's a matter of just finding it, and then I can show you exactly how to find this particular property. So you already have a buyer. Now it's a matter of finding the right property for them with those specifics. And you already know how much they want to profit. And most investors have a bottom line. Let's say that it's $20,000. When you run the numbers, if the $20,000 is there with minimum effort on their part, they'll jump on it, regardless of what they envision themselves with the perfect flip. So I'll go through it. I'll keep you guys posted on when we're gonna have that training, but it's really interesting, and we're gonna narrow it down to everything that you need to know as an investor, so that you know how to deal with this type of individuals. So if you go and find, if you can, when you go out, you find people who already own investment home, which is another strategy. Look up, which is public record. Look up people that already own investment homes, and you can tell by their names or their corporation name how many homes they have or they have invested, and if they pay cash or not, because these people can potentially be a great source of steady income or steady business for you. Because once you start sending them information about you, who you are, how you can help them, they're gonna, although they might have an agent, they're always open to work with whoever's gonna give them the best service and who's more knowledgeable in the matter. Foreclosures, that's a good source of investor leads as well. and because they're often invest in this type of homes first. So the website I was going to share with you, let me see if I can, Steve, if you can post it in the chat, is Hubzu. It's spelled HUBZU.com. HUBZ as in zebra, u.com, Hubzu.com. So that's a website that it's they do auctions, and sometimes they do a direct sell, a traditional sell they call it. So you don't have to go through the whole auction process. But you as an agent, you can register and you can see all the auctions that are coming up, and you can search by cities. Right? You can search Miami and it's gonna give you all Miami. You can search Homestead, you can search Candle, or you can say South Florida. You can break it down however, or counties, whichever way it shows you the most homes available. And if you go there, you're gonna be able to see it has even a time when the house is gonna how long the auction is gonna last and when is the end date. So you can even help the investor start putting bids on this properties. And when you run it, you're gonna notice that those properties, some of them are in the MLS and they're already on a discount. And if you win the bid, you can still negotiate with the bank. That's a little strategy. If you're the winning bidder, you can still negotiate the price with the bank to be able to get a little bit lower, considering any work that needs to be done on the property. So keep that in mind as well. So check it out when you get a chance. Again, that's Hubzu.com. It's really interesting. Most of the foreclosure homes that I have personally bought has been through there, just because the banks, when they turn over the property to you, most of the time, I will say 95% of the time is free and clear from any type of liens. So they'll take care of it for you. So just not to not go out of topic, too much. Basically, the way it works with Hubzu.com is this type of foreclosure homes. Those are homes that ended up at the courthouse at one point through the auction, but for some reason they weren't able to sell it through that county auction, and the banks acquire those inventory back to them. So now they have it. So they have to get rid of it. So for them to get rid of it, they have to get rid of a lot of liens or issues with the property. So now they're offering you something that is in better condition than if you were to find it in the courthouse. Right. So it's a little bit higher than what you will get at the courthouse, but they already come with a lot of those issues taken care of. So your investment for that investor is a lot safer. And there's still a lot of meat on the bone to be able to do a fix and flip or a buy and hold and a buy at a great price. Even first-time home buyers. I was able to help somebody that at his price point was super difficult to find a home. And we found a house acceptable by his lender, and he was able to finance the property through Hubzu.com. So you don't have to buy cash. You can also, they accept lenders and buy a property finance. So in that training, we're going to go over that as well. So different sites that you can play with and get familiar with, and you can, show it to your investors as well, that another source of buying properties. So again, like I mentioned, I've seen a lot of agents tap into this industry in many different ways. So like I said, we're in the process of putting together a training on how to work with investors and how to analyze good investment properties for any type of investment needs, from single family homes for flip, apartments, even multifamily, and how you can tap into this niche. So it's really interesting. And if the more you know about this, the more doors you have to be able to tap into other type of seller and buyer leads. So again, if you want to know more, go to www.brokernation.events and stay tuned for the next training coming up, or any other training that's coming up, especially for this one, which most likely will have it in person just because it's very detailed. But stay tuned for that and you'll learn more on how to work with investors. But nevertheless, I highly, highly encourage you to tap into this niche in real estate, how to work with this type of people, because it's really interesting, it's very rewarding, and at the same time, you're not dealing with a lot of emotions. You're dealing basically with numbers. So any questions as to that? No? Good?
How fast
Right?
can you get that training going? Sounds like a good one.
Say that again, I couldn't hear it.
How fast are you going to get that training going? It sounds
Very,
like a
very
good
soon,
one.
my friend. So we're gonna try to see if we can make, not next week, but the following, we'll put something together here at the office so we can go ahead and do that. Okay.
It's going to be a good
So it's
one.
not gonna
It'll
be
be
that long.
at the Doral office?
At the Doral office, correct.
Okay, all right.
And depending how it goes, we'll start doing it in both offices as well.
Oh, that would be awesome. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
thanks, Devon.
It'll be recorded too, so the people that missed it, that hopefully you don't miss it. But if you can make it for whatever reason, then you can still have access to the training and discussion. All right. So, all right, friends, with that said, please have a wonderful Friday. Thank you so much for joining us today for Real Estate Friday. Steve, anything you want to add before we go?
Just to reiterate again what you said, Daylon, we say it every time, but I always post the new events that we're going to have. And as Daylon said, we're going to have some good ones coming up. I always post them at brokernation.events. So I would encourage you guys all to check that. You can follow us on Eventbrite, and then you'll get notified every time we get a new event. And look out for our emails. I usually email you guys, especially our regulars, for Fridays and Monday events. I want to thank all of you for joining us today, even from the beach. And as always, if you are not a Broker Nation agent, or you are and you want to share it with the information and learn more about the brokerage, go to joinbrokernation.net. I'm going to put that in the chat too. Joinbrokernation.net and learn more about our brokerage and joining us.
Excellent. Thank you, Steve, for sharing that. Again, check out the websites. If you haven't made the commitment yet to join our company, learn more about us, joinbrokernation.net, and stay tuned for our next training, brokernation.events. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful Friday. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Have
Daylon.
a Great weekend.
All right.
Thank you, Harold.
Thanks, Daylon. See you later.
Okay,
Bye,
bye everybody.
Jonathan.
Thanks
Bye,
for joining
everybody.
us. Everybody
Take
on
care,
mute and say
Steve.
goodbye, and wish
Thank
us
you.
all a great weekend. Thanks, Daylon. Thanks,
Bye. Thank you.
Maritza,
Thank
for
you,
joining
Steve.
us. Suheili.
Bye. Have a nice
Hey,
weekend.
Melton.
Enjoy
Jane,
the
your
beach.
participation is appreciated. And Harold, love to hear more from you about your experience with this too. So have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye, all.
Bye, Daylan. Bye, Steve.